You are watching Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice. I'm Julie Grant. We are waiting for the jury to come back from a break in the case of Tennessee versus Billy Ray Turner. We thought that the first witness was going to be called. The judge initially sent the jury on a quick restroom break, and then it turned into this is a good time to take a lunch break. So just letting you know that case is on a recess right now. The Husel case we have streaming live for you on CourtTV.com. That is the doctor in Columbus, Ohio, who's accused of murdering 14 of his patients. In the meantime, we want to turn our attention to another story making headlines this afternoon. The Jussie Smollett legal saga continues. Get this, the attorneys for the Empire actor have filed an emergency release petition after Smollett's family is claiming to have received a threatening phone call, a call that purports to put Smollett's life in danger. This is according to Rolling Stone. Now, in this anonymous call, said to have been received by one of Smollett's siblings, the caller is describing in graphic detail what he hopes will happen to the actor while he's serving his jail sentence. Now, Court TV does not air graphic content, so we are not able to play the call for you. However, we can tell you that the alleged threat is similar in nature to the 1997 Abner Louima case. He was sodomized with a broomstick handle in a police precinct bathroom by a New York City police officer. Now, this petition for Jussie Smollett also lists a number of other reasons that the actor should be released, including threats across social media, Smollett's detention in protective custody, which his family claims is damaging his mental health. The petition also cites Smollett's compromised immune system, saying that it puts him at risk of contracting COVID-19. Now, on Monday, Court TV reported that Smollett's family was claiming that he had been moved to the psych ward of the Cook County Jail, despite the family claiming that nothing was wrong with the actor. Now, the Cook County Sheriff's Department released this statement. It says in part, quote, now, regarding Mr. Smollett's housing, the judge ordered that Smollett be housed in protective custody. He's currently housed in a location frequently utilized for individuals requiring a high level of supervision and care for mental health needs. This housing may also be utilized solely for security reasons due to the enhanced monitoring that can occur in this setting. Mr. Smollett is not currently on suicide watch. Regarding reports of threatening, hateful, and racist calls received, according to the family, the sheriff's office strongly urges the family to report these alleged calls to local law enforcement. As with all individuals in custody, the safety and security of Mr. Smollett is the sheriff's office's primary concern. Now, regarding COVID-19, there are currently just 15 individuals positive for the virus there at the Cook County Jail, all of whom tested positive at admission over the previous days, out of more than 6,100 in custody at the time. The jail, which has been recognized in studies by the CDC, Yale, and Stanford universities as a leader among carceral facilities in the fight against COVID-19. Jussie Smollett is sentenced to 30 months felony probation. He has to spend the first 150 days of that sentence in the Cook County Jail. The court also ordered him to pay just over $120,000 in restitution to the city of Chicago and pay a $25,000 fine. The jury, of course, found him guilty back in December of lying to police about that racist and homophobic attack that he orchestrated in 2019. All right, so let me bring in my guests to see what they think about all of this. Still with me, standing by, we have criminal defense attorney Daryl Cohen, retired DEA special agent Ted Golden, and criminal defense attorney Andrew Mishlove. Oh boy, where do I begin with Jussie Smollett? Maybe with the phone call. And Agent Gold, I really want to tap into your investigatory experience in all your years serving in law enforcement. So the family is who's saying they got the call. This call didn't, go to somebody at the jail. It's not going to, police or guards. This is apparently going to his family. Tell me, how might investigators try to confirm that it is what his family says it is?
Well, it appears that the call was recorded, and it may have been a lengthy call because of the graphic terms that were used in the conversation. So connected to that call is information depending on what kind of device they used to call from. If they called utilizing a cell phone, that number can be tracked. The information can be downloaded to determine where that call was made from, who made the call, who owns the phone that made the call, who else do they call, how often do they call other people. If they use a throwaway phone, then they can find out where it was obtained from and possibly get some video that shows where it was obtained from and who bought it. So there are a lot of different ways that investigators can use to determine the origination of the phone call and who actually made the phone call. So that's going to be the first priority, to legitimate the actual call itself, to confirm or deny that it was a call that was made from someone who has intentions on doing harm or causing problems for Smollett and his family. It's very complicated, but it can be done. It may take some time to get it.
Yeah, and presumably they'd be working on that now, I would hope. Agent Golden, that's the thing that kind of was troubling me when I heard about this news this morning, is that call needs to be authenticated, right, to show that it is what the family is saying that it is. And what kind of gives me a little bit of pause is that spectacle that Jussie Smollett made in the courtroom on his way out with the deputies. We all heard him, the world heard him loud and clear, and then now his family, they claim, are receiving calls like the one that we're unable to play because it is so graphic and disturbing. Daryl Cohen, what do you think about this? Does this give you any pause, thinking about what he said on the way out of the courtroom, and now here comes the phone call that seems to corroborate what his concern was?
Well, Julie, this all seems to be so much like Shakespeare, much ado about nothing, but not really. It tells me that if you do the crime, you have to serve the time. And all of us who have been in the criminal defense system for years understand that. Yes, he needs to be protected. If this phone call is authenticated, or if they have reason to believe that he is in some sort of danger, then clearly he needs to be protected. But should he be released based upon his allegations that he was found guilty of? In my view, no. He did something that exacerbated exactly what we don't need in this country. We don't need any more racial problems for no absolute reason. So let him do his time and protect him if necessary, but let it be.
Andrew Mishlove, tell me what you think about this. Does this raise any red flags to you?
Well, Jussie Smollett is a unique case. It's obviously captured the nation's interest, so it's hard to compare it to other cases. And yet at the same time, everyone who goes into jail is afraid of violence in jail. Everyone who goes into jail is afraid of COVID in jail. These kind of complaints are things that jailers and judges hear every day. So I agree with Mr. Cohen that I would be shocked if he is released from jail because of this. He will be placed in protective custody of some sort, and that's not a lot of fun. That means that he's going to be essentially in solitary confinement where nobody can get to him. I would be extremely surprised if he was even moved to a different facility, but he'll be watched very carefully inside the facility he's in.
Right. You know, and as far as what protective custody, you know, what it looks like, what it involves, Agent Golden, can you kind of give us an idea of what that experience is like? I know Andrew touched on it a little bit for us, but if anybody's wondering, what exactly is it like for someone like Jussie Smollett, based on what we know from the Cook County Sheriff's Department? What, if anything, would you add to that, please?
First of all, he's placed in the side of the jail where there's the optimum level of security. Nobody gets in or out of that area without being accounted for and justifying why they come in. And he'll probably be under 24-hour video surveillance. And he'll probably have a jailer coming by and checking him every 30 minutes to make sure that he's okay and he hasn't done anything to himself or nobody has gotten to him. He'll probably be allowed 1 hour out of his jail cell to shower and possibly take a walk by himself, but he'll be walking with nobody else in the area where he is. But 23 hours out of the day, he's going to be locked down with no access to anything except the normal things you have to be able to do: use a bathroom, get a drink of water, get your 3 meals every day, and to take a shower once a day. So it's the ultimate level of solitary confinement, and it's not intended to harm him. It is intended to keep him safe.
Thank you, Agent Golden. Let's take a look back at those outbursts that Jussie Smollett made when he was in court for his sentencing last week.
No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I would like to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Stop laughing about facts.
I am not suicidal. And I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
Ooh, what'd you think of that? I want to ask my guests on the program what they thought of that outburst there. Daryl Cohen, let me begin with you. Your thoughts on it, please.
Perhaps Oscar-winning or clearly Emmy-winning performance. His performance was exactly what it was when he made the allegations that he was found guilty of being a liar. Guilty. I'm not impressed. I'm just not impressed. Maybe he's auditioning for a part from when he is no longer incarcerated.
Right.
He may get it.
Oh, go ahead, please, Daryl.
No, I said he may get that
off.
part.
He may get it. Yeah, he may
No,
get it.
I
Yeah.
don't know who the producer, the director is, but go for it. He's quite an actor.
Yeah, he is
He's
quite
a SAG
an actor.
member.
I found it to be quite a spectacle, and I have to say, he had to have known of that possibility. He has who I understand to be some of the finest lawyers in Chicago. We're familiar at Court TV with one of them, Tamara Walker. She's been on Court TV before. She's outstanding. And these lawyers would have to advise him of all the possibilities. Andrew, let me have you speak to this, if you would, please. When you have a client going into sentencing like this, share with us how you explain to them all the things that might happen on that day, depending on what the judge does.
Well, I always advise my clients they might go into custody on that day. Sometimes the judge sets a different day for a person to report. If my clients are guilty and that's obvious, I advise my clients that they need to find someplace in their hearts where they have some remorse and contrition, and they ought to express that. So Jussie Smollett did exactly the opposite of that. He proclaimed his innocence, which is his right. At least he tempered it by expressing respect for the judge and the jury. But I found it to be, as Mr. Cohn did, a performance.
Right. Agent Golden, share with us your thoughts. Seeing that, on Friday when he was sentenced, what did you think, please?
Well, I just had a conversation with my grandson about consequences. When you're a man and you do something wrong and you get caught, you have to be willing to face the consequences of your actions. If that's the case, you're not a man, you're a child. Don't whine about things, especially when you know what you did is wrong. You accept the consequences. I can tell you that out of the many trials I've sat through with defendants that I knew without a shadow of a doubt were guilty, when the judges made their decisions, or the jury made their decision, the judge handed down the sentence, not one of them stood and did what Mr. Smollett did. They faced the consequences, accepted the responsibility, and went to jail without whining and crying. You got to grow up, you got to be a man, and you got to accept the consequences of your actions. When you do wrong, you suffer the consequences.
Exactly. A great lesson your grandson is being taught. Absolutely. And with Jussie Smollett, oh, go ahead, Daryl. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was just going to say, had he gone while sentencing, not admitting what he did was wrong, but saying, I'm sorry this happened. I feel so much remorse, and I do respect the court. I think everything might have gone a lot more smoothly for him. That's all.
Right. And in part of what he said something to the effect like, I respect the jury's decision, I respect your honor, but then he just could not help himself, could he? He just had to keep going and had to be loud and just draw so much attention to himself when this all was about attention. That's what it was all about, whether it was for more fame or to try to become more powerful in Hollywood or who knows. But it's like, boy, oh boy, you know, you can advise a client all day, right, Andrew? You can advise them and advise them and advise them, but I'm sure those attorneys had to be cringing at the impression that he left upon the nation on Friday.
I'm sure that they were grateful for his sake that he made the majority of those statements after the judge pronounced sentence.
Yeah.
If you act out like that before the judge announces his sentence, it invariably leads to a much harsher sentence.
Sure. You know, someone asked me on Twitter, this is a good one to follow up with you, Andrew. Someone said, what about contempt? Could the judge have held him in contempt?
That would be pretty unusual. I think at that point, the judge just wants to get him out of the courtroom.
Right. Send him off to the jail. Then he's the jail's problem. But here it just seems like he won't stop. And I think with this call the family is saying they received, I mean, you certainly hope it's not true. You know, it's very, very disturbing, upsetting. But I think had there not been that performance before, it kind of set the table for it, I guess, is what I'm thinking. The performance on Friday in the courtroom kind of, you know, and now everyone, you know, in his family who is very strongly advocating. They gave that press conference after the sentencing. Many of you might have seen it at home, where they were very angry that he was sent to the Cook County Jail. And so they're obviously doing everything they can to make sure that he is safe there, understandably so. And we'll see if he's let out. That petition's hanging in the balance, and we'll keep an eye if we hear anything from the court or if law enforcement authenticates that call. Daryl Cohen, Andrew Mishlove, Agent Ted Golden, thank you all so much. Before we head to break, I want to share with you something special. This is a special programming note. Tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, you can see an exclusive interview. Michael Ayala is going to be interviewing Jussie Smollett's attorney, Tamara Walker. We were just talking about Tamara. She's fantastic. She's been on Court TV before. Michael's going to sit down with her and talk all about Jussie Smollett's case. So maybe we'll get some more insight from her tonight. But that's 7 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Court TV.